Hi, Pep Stars. Welcome back to the channel. This is Miss Boyne. This is episode 2 of the Ability Test Prep series. In today's class, we're going to be looking at the verbal reasoning type questions. I'm going to be sharing examples, and we're going to look at activities from the Ministry of Education's Ability Test Booklet 1. Let me share the booklet to the screen. So the first set of questions we're looking at is the analogy type questions. These types of questions consist of a pair of words with a particular relationship to each other. Your goal is to identify the relationship and use it to select the best words to complete a second pair of words. For example, time is the clock as temperature is too. Let's see how we can approach this question. What is the relationship between time and clock? It is often useful to turn your analogy into a bridge sentence. Here's our bridge sentence. To tell the time, I look on a clock. So to tell the temperature, what would I look on? What do we use to tell the temperature? So time is the clock as temperature is to thermometer. We use a clock to tell time. In a similar way, thermometer is used to tell the temperature. Let's continue to practice. Think about how the first pair of words are related to each other. Then look at the next word and choose the word that is related to it in the same way. Web is the spider, as nest is too. First, we're going to be writing our bridge sentence. What is the relationship between web and spider? If you say that a spider lives in a web, then you are correct. A spider lives in a web, so we're going to write our bridge sentence now. A spider lives in a web. What lives in a nest? What animal lives in a nest? If you said a bird, then you are correct. All right, there you have it. That's our bridge sentence. So let's now write our explanation. So here is our explanation. A spider lives in a web. In a similar way, a bird lives in a nest. So the correct answer is bird. Let's move on to the next question. Leaf is the tree as petal is to. Let's think about the relationship between leaf and tree. A leaf is a part of a tree. So what is a petal a part of? If you said flower, then you are correct. A petal is a part of a flower. And now let's write our explanation. So the correct answer is flower. Let's move on to our next question. Chef is the restaurant as doctor is to. Let's first find the relationship between a chef and a doctor. A Sorry, let's find the relationship between the chef and a restaurant. A chef works in a restaurant. So where does a doctor work? Does a doctor work in a market, a clinic, patient, or medicine? A doctor works in a clinic. Let's start our explanation. So there you have it. That's the end of our analogy portion of this verbal reasoning preparation. Let's move on to our next topic in the verbal reasoning category. And if you watched episode 1, you'd have seen all the topics from the verbal reasoning category. I'll link that video above so you can watch all the categories to anticipate what we'll do next. Now we're looking at the classification type questions. This type of question offers you 4 words. All words are related to one another in some way. However, one word is odd. It does not fit in with the others. Your goal is to select the word that is odd. To do this, you will need to first determine what all of the words have in common. Choose the word that is different. Let's look at the example. Which word does not belong in the group? Let's see how all of these items are related. Sneakers, water boot, gloves, and slippers are all worn on the body. Only gloves are worn on the hand. All the other items are worn on the feet. So gloves is the odd one out. Let's do our practice. Choose the one which is different from the rest. Let's first think about how are these items alive. All of these items are units of measurement. Which one is the odd one out? Let's look at them in closer detail. So an inch is used to measure, or an inch, that unit of measure is used to measure distance. Kilogram is used to measure weight. Centimeter is used to measure distance. And yard is also used to measure distance. I'm sure you figured the odd one out. The other one out is kilogram because kilogram is used to measure weight. All the others are used to measure distance. Now let's look at the next question. Choose the one which is different from the rest. Type, engine, car, steering wheel. Are all these items alike? They are all related to car. Which one is different? So the tire and the engine and the steering wheel are all a part of the car. Well, the car is the item itself, and that's why it's the odd one out. Let's look at the final question from the classification category of questions. Choose the one which is different from the rest. Lion, leopard, elephant, and tiger. How are these items alike? They are all animals. Which one is the odd one out and why is it different? Let's look at these animals in detail. The lion, the leopard, and the tiger are all parts of the cat family. So the elephant is the odd one out. I'm sure you can also find other reasons why the elephant is the odd one out. So there you have it. That's the classification type questions. Now we're moving on to our final set of questions for this episode, and it's the essential part. For this type of question, you must identify which part from a given list is an absolute necessity. For example, which is an essential part of the word in bold? The word in bold is television. Is the remote control an essential part of the television? Is it the cable, Netflix, or the screen? Which of these could a television not work without? Let's see. Could a television work without a remote control? If you answered yes, that is correct. You can always manually turn on or off the computer and switch the channels from the buttons that are on the television, sorry, not the computer. Could a television work without a cable? Without cable. Now, most of us are accustomed to Netflix, but other me are accustomed to cable. But we know that the television could work without cable because you have local television station. Could a television work without Netflix? If you said yes, that is also correct. The television does not need Netflix to work. Could a television work without a screen? If your answer is no, then you are correct. The television needs a screen so we can see what is on the television. Without a screen, we will not be able to watch the television. Therefore, the screen is an essential part. Now let's wrap up our last set of practice before we end this episode. Which is an essential part of the word in bold. The word in bold is hurricane. Is it flood, wind, rain, or tsunami? This is very tricky. I know you're looking at B and C, and that's the part that is worrying you most. Which one is the essential part? Now, if you look at the definition of a hurricane, it means a large gust of wind. So while some of us are really led to believe that it can be rain, the correct answer is in fact wind. A hurricane can also exist without a flood, and there doesn't have to be a tsunami when there's a hurricane. So therefore, the correct answer is wind. The word in bold is recipe. What's an essential part of a recipe? It doesn't have to be a dessert recipe. Neither does the recipe have to be in a cookbook. And utensils are not quite related to a recipe. So the correct is direction because a recipe is a direction that tells you how to cook a meal. Now moving on to our final question. What is an essential part for vibration? You can have a vibration without sound, and power and science are not directly related to vibration. It's not an essential part of vibration. And vibration, by definition, is motion or movement being created. So therefore, the answer is motion. So there you have students. That's the end of our ability test preparation for this week. I know you had a very informative session. I look forward to see the next video uploaded for episode 3. I know also that you're experiencing weather where you are because we're affected by the tropical storm Raphael. Please do stay safe and continue to practice. And please remember to share the video. And if you're watching for the first time, remember to subscribe to the channel because this is where we get all information from PEP related and all the PEP resources. And if you notice, I'm using a booklet from the ministry. So all the ministry materials as well. Until next time.